Hello, Knights fans, and welcome to the 9th edition of the Knights Baseball Roundup. I'm Ryan Uhlich. I'm joined by the head of the FDU baseball program, Gary Puccio. And as you can see behind us, it's a really crummy day. It's overcast, northeast, rain, cold, freezing, wind. Today's contest against Siena has been canceled. It's been a season of cancellations and postponements, and this is just another one. It's just another one. But we don't break tradition here. We're on the field doing another Knights Baseball Roundup for you, the fans at home, because we are superstitious in baseball. We don't break our stride. So before we get into everything in the show, we will have Corbin Gapski later in the show. If you're a fan of the show, you know that he was in front of the camera last year. This year he's on the team playing, and I can't wait to talk to him. He's a good friend of mine. And for now, I just want to say before we get into everything, with a new alumni question of the week, I should say, we got to say Gary has reached 71 wins here at FDU, tying his predecessor for that mark in nearly 90 games faster. So a really nice accomplishment, and tell me a little bit about your stay here at FDU and getting there.
Yeah, I mean, if nothing else, I'd like to say that, or I'd like to think that shows that the program has improved since I've been here, and that's all you're looking for, is trying to make the program better, and hopefully we have, and hopefully we'll continue to do so, and I think that's the key.
Absolutely, and we move on, as we always do, to the alumni question of the week, except for last week when you didn't send any other questions in, but we got one this week. So Gary, who is the alumnus that asked this question, and what is the question, and what is your answer, Gary?
Hey, this one comes from Leroy Kirshner, and his question was, with the turf field, how come we're still having so many cancellations this year? And Leroy, the answer to that is obviously the weather has not cooperated. You know, a turf field's great, but unfortunately, if there's snow on it or there's rain coming down, it just makes it real hard. It is kind of strange, because I think out of the 9 games that have been canceled, like 7 of them are home games, and it is definitely a strange situation. This year's just been the most unbelievably weird weather patterns. I mean, we had cold in the past last year, but by this time of year, you're usually fine. And to have games like today, I mean, right now it's a little cloudy out here, but an hour ago it was
a little cloudy.
Yeah, an hour ago it was raining. Right, it was bitter cold, and I had the guys out here stretching and throwing to get ready, and it was like a miserable day. So we've had a lot of miserable days weather-wise, and hopefully the weather's supposed to turn this weekend. It's supposed to be 60s, and teams in baseball, you always play better when the weather gets better. So hopefully that's going to happen.
Right, and that's the perils of playing in the Northeast, where you can't really start your season necessarily on time. And you deal with these cancellations, and yet again, another one. But the out-of-conference schedule is not complete, but we are heading into prime NEC time. Wagner upcoming this weekend. We'll get into that in a second. First, we got to review this past weekend against Sacred Heart. Up against the Pioneers, up in Connecticut. The Pioneers took 3 out of 4. Now, this was a very up-and-down weekend. A lot of things you can draw from it, some positives, but a lot of things you can definitely work on. There's plenty of time to do so. We'll get into that. First was last Thursday was a doubleheader, and Sacred Heart took the first game. This was Borelli was on the mound. Solid, shaky to start, really settled into a groove thereafter. And really it was the bullpen late that kind of gave up some runs late. And in Game 2, Joe Flack is making his second start of the season. Got to be a little bit impressed with the way he's rebounding from his injuries. A couple unearned runs, and then a rally late that wasn't completed, but got right there to the edge. That they kept fighting. But so give me some thoughts about the DH there.
Yeah, we led both games on Thursday. It was a little disheartening that we weren't able to put a W on the board. Borelli gave us 6 strong innings. He left with a 5-3 lead. Had given up 2 runs in the first inning. Had 2 out, nobody on. We gave up 2 runs, and then he settled down, gave up a home run to I think it was Zach Short hit a home run off him later in the game. So it was 5-3 in the 7th, but we just didn't hold it. I mean, the bullpen has struggled a little bit this year, except for obviously Snyder, and I didn't feel comfortable bringing Snyder in the 7th inning of the first game of the conference series, because I got 4 games to play. Yeah. And maybe that was my mistake. I mean, maybe I needed, with a 5-3 lead, to take my shot and take the W. So I got to take part of the blame on that one. But at the same time, if our bullpen's not going to hold him, I can't be bringing Snyder in the 7th inning every game. So we need to step up a little bit. We need some guys to step up. And the first game was evident of that. that the opportunity was there to win, and we just didn't get it done. And as you said, the defense didn't help us either. We've made a couple of mistakes defensively We play on a dirt field. Obviously we practice on a turf field all the time. Most of our games are on turf. I did notice that I think Sacred Heart had something like 10 infield hits over the weekend, and we made an incredible amount of errors compared to how we usually play defense. Defense is what I pride myself on as a coach, that our teams don't beat ourselves. I believe 2 of the 4 games we made 4 errors, including that second game when Joe Flack pitched to the doubleheader. We lost that game 5-4, and Joe only gave up 2 earned runs. So another game that we let get out of hand, that we played poor defensively, and again, I mean, part of that was a dirt field, a grass infield, and I should have had us practice. We had talked about this last year, that when we go play on a grass field, that we need to spend some time practicing on a grass field, and I kind of let that slip my mind and get away from us, and that definitely hurt us. And again, turf fields are great, but if you're playing on grass field, you need to practice on a grass field. So
the offense definitely showed up this past weekend, and several players got a hit in every single game. We'll get to that in a second. We're moving on to the win on Friday, 7-3. This was, as I called it, the Pat McClure game, just because he had a good game. Down 2-0 in the early innings, he comes up with a big single, 2-run single, 2-2. He breaks the tie later with a 2-run bomb. And, just nice to see him get started. He slowed down a little bit, but he picked it back up this weekend. And then tacked on some more runs late in the game. But also, on the pitching side of things, you had Ryan McGrath, who, is it maybe fatigue settling in a little bit? This was the most walks he's given up in a single outing this season. It really did him in a little bit in a couple of innings. So, what do you think?
Yeah, well, first let's talk about Pat. I mean, two out, big RBI. We talk about that all the time. Those add-on runs, those 2-out hits, how important they are. Sacred Heart, the first game against us, I don't know if it was the first or second game against us, but they had 8 runs and 7 of them were hits with 2 outs. So it's incredible, those 2-out hits, how they count. And we were able to do that in the game we won, pack in that 2-out single to drive home 2, and then delivering an 0-2 home run, which was a big 2-run homer. He was terrific, and even behind the plate, he's thrown out I think 48% or something right now. Guys stealing, so he's just been terrific. And having him back behind the plate, he's a natural leader, and the guys all look up to him, and he's done a super job. As far as McGrath, I don't know how much more I can ask out of Ryan McGrath. Did he get a little wild? Yeah. Did he walk some guys? Yeah. Was he probably, again, short week that week because of Easter, so everyone was pitching a day early, so they had one less day of rest. So, and he had pitched Sunday at Seton Hall because of the game being rained out Saturday, so it was a doubleheader Sunday. So this kid was going on 4 days rest.
Yeah, short-term fatigue rather than the long.
And if you look at his walks, they came in his last inning. He walked 4 guys, walked in a run in the last inning. It was 3-2 us. He made it 3-3. Once Pat hit the homer, we took the 5-3 lead. I had Snyder up. I wasn't going to fool around. It's the 6th and 7th inning. It turned out we scored 2 more runs, but I was like, you know what? Yep. He's already up. Let's go use him, and of course Snyder had 2 1-2-3 innings. Yes. The game was over. 2
1-2-3 innings. That was the second appearance for Snyder. He came into the Saturday contest. This was a 10-5 game in favor of the Pioneers. Logan Frady on the mound, another guy that's returning from injury. He piled up 9 strikeouts. But among the 9 strikeouts, he also got in some walk trouble. He also allowed a couple hits. So give me some thoughts about his performance. Honestly, his performance rebounding from injury, but looking good doing so despite the runs. And then again, we were talking about the defense. Yeah, the defense playing on a dirt field. If that's it, 4 errors. Eric Snyder comes in and 4 unearned runs, but it just seemed continuous toward the end of the game.
Well, as far as Logan's concerned, again, coming off an injury, didn't pitch all last year. Again, working on a 1-day short rest. None of that helped. He still struck out 9. He got into a little funk where he walked like 2-3 guys in 1 inning, and that hurt him, and he gave up a couple of runs. But, I took him out. I think we were down 6-5, bottom of the 8th. We got to bases loaded 2 out with Snyder on the mound, and it was a ground ball to the infield, and we threw the ball away. And so we ended up losing 10-5. Well, that should have been the 3rd out of the inning. It's 6-5 going to the 9th, and let's see what happens, But that's where, again, the critical mistakes defensively that really hurt us, and basically in the infield more than anywhere else. And we know we're better than that. Like, we know we play better than that. I mean, I love the left side of my infield. I think they're terrific. It was just, again, playing on a grass field, and I didn't, we didn't prepare for playing on a grass field. That's the bottom line. We just didn't do the things. But, in this kind of weather and everything, we're lucky we have a field to practice on. So it isn't like we can go walking around and go find a place. So you make the best of it, but you learn from it. And we're going to make sure when we go play Bryant on a grass field that we spend time during that week practicing on one.
Absolutely. One last thing before we get to Wagner is bright spots we can take away from the weekend is kind of the return of the lineup, so to speak. I mean, they've been lukewarm for a couple of weeks. We were talking about how the pitching had kind of overshadowed them of recent weeks. They came out in a big way. And these are guys we haven't talked about: Matt McCann, Riley Moonen. We haven't really mentioned them this year yet. Even Pat to an extent as well, but Riley Moonen, Matt McCann, and Shane Siebler got a hit in every single game this past weekend. Some of the freshmen came in and got some knocks. McNaughton got a knock. Grupp got an RBI single as well. So good to see from everybody. Moonen, I think, hit well over 400 for the weekend, and he's hitting 400 over his last 10 games, I think. Matt McCann, meanwhile, in his sophomore year, is batting nearly 340 on the season. So you have to be impressed with the way things are turning out with the lineup, right?
Yeah, I was teasing Riley back the first weekend in Seattle. I told him it was a sequel to Sleepless in Seattle, that he was hitless in Seattle. And I remember grabbing him on the plane on the way home. I don't know if it was on the plane, but whatever. But I remember grabbing him and saying, "Listen, Riley, you've been here 3 years. You hit near 300 every year. Do you really think you're hitting zero? You think that's where you're going to stay?" I said, "I guarantee that only means there's a hitting streak waiting you." And sure enough, right now Riley Moone's hitting 300. And that's just who he is. I mean, he's just a terrific player. He's the best center fielder I have probably in my career, and he's done a great job. I mean, he's just a solid ball player. He's a clutch kid and a joy to coach. He really is. Got nothing but accolades for Riley Moonen. Matt McCann has been a spark plug of the team. He's just, the Seton Hall series, the game, that Sunday, I didn't play him because he was injured and I was being cautious. I didn't want to take a chance. He got hit in the hand with a pitch, and I just said, you know what, better you rest for the conference games. And we made an error in the infield that, I believe if Matt was out there, probably wouldn't have happened. So, he's a spark plug. He's a major player in our program. He's got an over 400 on base percentage. He leads the team in steals. He just does a lot of things well, an awful lot of things well. So, got to be very happy with both of them. They're outstanding. And Shane, as far as, Shane started out slow. He's been struggling at the bat. It was great to see him I think he got a couple of doubles too. I know he had a hit in every game. He raised his average like 100 points. So
unlike Shane, that he started off slow in the beginning of the season, but he also, his lone hit basically was this home run. It was very unlike Shane's start to the season, but so far he's starting to heat up a little bit.
Yeah, and Shane's a trooper. He gives you 100% every play, every day. So never going to go wrong with him.
All right, lineup is starting to show up right in time for the Wagner series. Let's talk about the Seahawks this weekend. This is at the Naimoli Family Baseball Complex here this weekend, all 3 days, barring the weather to allow it to happen. But the Seahawks well. Give me some thoughts. Give me a little scouting report.
Well, first of all, the weather's supposed to be good, so hopefully...
Beautiful.
It's supposed to be 60s and sunny, so hopefully we should be all right.
That doesn't mean anything yet.
Yes, of course. Of course, they said today was going to be okay, so you never know. Seahawks a good team, and we always have great battles with Wagner. They're well coached. Jimmy Carone's an outstanding coach, young coach, one of the best young coaches in the game, and he does a great job. They like to run. They're a team that they're gonna put the pressure on, take the fire to you, and force you to throw them out and force you to play defense against them. So it's important that we don't give them free base runners. It's important that we make plays. If we have the kind of errors we had at Sacred Heart, we're going to be in trouble. I mean, it's just that simple. So we got to basically play errorless ball, not walk them. The pitchers have to make sure they throw strikes, force them to hit more. They got Nick Deeney. He's one of the best hitters in the league, always has been. Kid's an outstanding conference player. So, and they got solid pitching. They got Nolan. He's coming out the first game, I believe. So they're good. I mean, they're competitive. I think they just beat Rutgers the other day, 11-4 or something, with a 10-run rally in the 8th inning. So, we're going to have our hands full. I mean, Wagner's a good program, and they made the playoffs last year. So, we helped get them into the playoffs actually last year, winning those 2 games the last day of the season. So they kind of owe us one,
Well, you can come out and watch that series. It should be a good one. Northeast Conference baseball here at the Naimoli Family Baseball Complex. You come out and you watch your Knights take on the Seahawks. Go to FDUKnights.com to make sure the weather is permitting of the weekend series, and if there's any changes with the times. But otherwise, you know where to go. Before I let you go, I'll be talking to Corbin Gapski. You've known him for 4 years. He's still here, I think, somewhere behind us. Now, you've known Corbin for 4 years. He's only been on your team for 2. of those years, but you've seen what he's accomplished off the field as well. You know what he brings to the team. What do you have to say for your senior?
You know, first of all, he should have been on the team for 4 years. That's my fault, not his. As far as having him back, this kid's as good a team player as you could ever ask for. He's just a rah-rah kid. He's a caring kid. The kids all love him. He's you know, I've always said he's the most popular athlete at the school. I mean, hands down. I mean, he's just a great human being. And it's great to have him back on the team because you see him in the dugout always encouraging guys. And now as a senior, he's got that little extra maturity level where, you know, he'll go up and pat a kid on the back that's struggling or talk to one of the young freshmen and tell him what he went through when he was a freshman and stuff. And, you know, his sin with the Monmouth game being rained out because he had a phenomenal at-bat at Monmouth and ended up getting a base hit and, you know, and it gets wiped out. I think him, McNaughton, and Fatzinger, all three of them had hits that got wiped out at Monmouth, you know. So Corbin's just a feel-good story. He's a great kid. As you said, great career ahead of him as a broadcaster if he wants, or any kind of sports information type deal, communications. He's just a real smart kid, 4.0 GPA last semester. There is just an awful lot to like about him, and I'm really glad he came back.
Me too. I've gotten to know him for the last couple of years. I can't wait to talk to him. Thank you for another.
Of course, I do have to say, you said he was a good friend. So
he's a good friend.
He's never mentioned that to me. I just thought I'd.
Well, you know, it's a business kind of relationship, I feel like. Okay, I can't wait to interview him. We'll be here talking in a moment for you. For me, it's going to be a couple minutes. But and you don't know this. I just realized. But next week, our 10th show, I'm not going to be here.
Really?
I'm not going to be here. I'm going on vacation. I'm going to go see some family. I'm going to go to Florida, where it is so much nicer than here.
There you go. Maybe I can come with you. We'll do the show from there.
Hey, that's fine. Maybe we'll call in. It'll be a really weird, I don't know.
So we're having a guest substitute host? Is that what
we'll see what we're going to do. I have a couple ideas. We're thinking. Maybe we'll even get Corbin again in front of the camera. I don't know, though. I don't know. That's maybe asking too much.
Or
but
we're going to cancel episode 10.
Well, we could wait. We'll talk. But you at home, you stick around. You watch the website. You should watch that website for all updates with the FDU baseball team at FDU Unites on Twitter, and you stick around for Corbin's interview. Again, thank you, and good luck this weekend.
And we also want you guys out here this weekend. Yeah. Okay, weather's going to be good. Come on out, support the Knights.
It's starting to get drier here, and obviously the heavens haven't opened up. It looks okay, but we don't play for a couple days anyway. So come out and support your Knights. Thank you for watching. Stick around and watch me and Corbin in a second. Thank you.
The world has changed, and Fairleigh Dickinson University is doing something about it.
The biggest thing FDU has to offer is their global education.
Undergrad, master's, doctorate, whatever it is that you're looking for, they have so many different opportunities for so many different interests.
We give opportunities for people to change the way they view themselves and their world.
It's given me a chance to succeed.
They've made my dream come true.
I love it. I would choose no other place.
Welcome back, Knights fans, on the Knights Baseball Roundup. If you have been a fan of this show since the beginning of last season, and you know this person right to my right, you know this face, this beard, this glorious beard, this is Corbin Gapski, and I'm catching up with him. He used to be my co-host on the Knights Baseball Roundup. He used to interview the players last year, as you know, if you've been watching the show. And if you hang around the department, the program, you know about him. It's great to be interviewing you. It's surreal, but it's nice. It's really nice, because we have these conversations all the time. We goof around, but now this is serious. This is all business. Corbin, how you doing?
I'm doing well. It's actually pretty weird to be on this side of the microphone. Usually I'm the one holding it, so it's.
Would you like to hold it during the interview? I'll ask the question. You can take it.
No. I just trying to prepare the answers this time instead of the questions. So it's actually being on a different side of the plate. You know, it's like I'm hitting lefty right now.
I wouldn't mind if you want to hold the mic and then hold it to me when I ask the questions, and then you bring it back to yourself. But no, we'll keep going. I've said too much. Enough. Okay. Obviously, I want to ask about just what it means to you to be back on the team as a senior. You're on the team as a freshman, but here you are as a senior. Where you're at, mentally, maturity-wise, as a person. But now you're back on the team, and I know you have a really busy schedule, and we'll get to that in a second. But it's brutal. And then you add on the fact that you have to be a full-time athlete here. What are you doing? I would curl up in a ball. But what are you doing? How are you feeling your senior year?
It's not even just an athlete; it's a student athlete. So it's demanding, but I've had a great time with it so far. Me and Coach Puccio had a talk last year about it, coming back onto the team, and we started in the fall, just like baseball team has in the past, and it's been a great time so far to be around the guys again, going to the locker room every day, the road trips, and keeping the guys loose, which I think I do pretty well at. So I joke around a lot, pull some shenanigans. So it's been a great time so far, but it's absolutely different from my freshman year, and a lot has changed since then.
Right, and I mean, you've done a lot off the field. You're the president of the Student Athlete Advisory Committee, SAC, here for a couple years now. You've done a lot of other things. You really help out in the athletic communications department. You obviously were on the Nice Baseball Roundup last year, but if you ever come to the Rothman, you see the banners. That's this man right here designing those, the giant blow-up banner. And every program in the last 2 years, what, it's been 2 years, right? Mm-hmm. Every program and every sporting event pretty much has been made by him. You've definitely done a ton for the department, and obviously for all the athletes here, and what has helped you grow as a person. So my question basically is just how you've grown from being a freshman baseball player, and then now you're a baseball player again, but all this off the field that you've accomplished. What does that do for you, Corbin the person?
Well, just going back to the whole process, I chose Fairleigh Dickinson University because being so close to New York City, so it's very convenient for me. The baseball was a bonus for me, studying sports administration down here. Just having the opportunity, though, such a hands-on program, athletic department, and it's been great. Getting to do everything from public address announcing to working in Photoshop. And everyone here has been very helpful. I've learned something from everyone here in the department. So it goes all the way back to my freshman year with me and Sean Morrison. But then you go into sophomore year and Jamie Church, then Chris Strauch, and then working with you as well. So it's been a great ride so far. And
working with me as well, yeah.
Ryan Uhlich, of course. He's going to get his own section. But every year it's been different for me. Baseball player freshman year, sophomore year was first year removed from baseball. Junior year as a resident assistant, and I was a mascot, so giving away my
I'm sorry, I'm missing a lot of things. I forgot to tick off the list for you.
I try to help out as much as I can. But
honestly, the greatest mascot I think FTU's ever seen. I'm not kidding.
I paid you before the interview to say that, so I appreciate that.
If you've been to sport events, this man, he can groove as a giant blue horse. He is fantastic.
No comment.
All right, obviously all those off the field accomplishments has really helped you grow as a person, but as a baseball player, as a teammate, where are you at compared to your freshman year? Going forward the rest of this season, obviously we're basically halfway through, but where are you at right now as a ball player and as a teammate?
Well, I think I have a totally different role in this sense. Freshman year, for sure, coming in, competing, try to win a spot. But this year, I know I got to keep the guys loose. It's been a great ride with it, again, going back and keeping the guys loose in the locker room, keeping the guys loose in the dugout as well, and on the field as much as possible. It's actually funny because I got to start out in Monmouth, and I got to start at first base, which is great, and actually led off the third with a base hit that's like a 12-pitch at bat, and I made a good play at first base, and then the rain started coming down. The hit didn't count, the play didn't count, the run didn't count, so it was all washed away. But I think it was a huge metaphor, Ryan, because I know as a player that my stuff won't ever be seen on the bottom line. Keeping the guys loose and being that guy to keep the guys motivated, that's never going to show up on my baseball card or my bottom line. And I think that means a lot to me. That I don't need all those numbers to tell me how good of a ball player I was. I'm a good ball player. I'm a better ball player than I was freshman year, and this has been the best ride for me. The freshmen we have this year, just maturing them into young men, it's just helping them develop into some great ball players and great student athletes here. And I think I've been having a great time doing that.
All right, very, very well said. And now, you're being an RA, being the president of SAC, helping out in the athletic communications department, that stuff will show up on your resume as you get set to go forward. And honestly, all the references that you've piled up, what's in future what's in store for Corbin Gapski? I know you're going to the University of Cincinnati as it is right now, and you're going to take part in the graduate program. So what does the future hold for you, Corbin?
Well, like you mentioned, I'm an RA right now, so I'll be here until late May 23rd, being an RA here and graduating May 19th. But again, I'll leave the university May 23rd, right around that time, and I start my job at the University of Cincinnati June 1. Graduate assistant at Student Athlete Sports Services. So working in the SAS office, athletic advising, and helping with their bridge program for the new football players and basketball players coming in. and I'll be getting my master's in communication, which I'm looking forward to. Another hands-on program I've heard, prestigious institution, so I'm really looking forward to that.
Things change, I know, but what do you see yourself doing with that master's degree? What would you like to do?
Well, I mean, of course, communication, it's so broad. I mean, I like connecting with people, whether that's through sales or that's with marketing, some creative guy, but I aspire to work in professional sports. Any opportunity I get, though, I know I'm going to have a good time doing it. There's no job that I'm just going to do it for the money. Absolutely not. I'm going to have a job that's going to be fun for me. I'm going to wake up every day and I'm going to love to do it. But everything changes. You know, I was planning to be a baseball player for 4 years. That didn't happen. You know, and then take a different path and you end up somewhere else. And so you never know what's going to happen.
No, you don't. I did not know I was going to a master's program at FDU that I've passed by on my way to, you know, my grandparents' house all the time. I didn't think I was going to be here, and here I am interviewing you, who didn't know you were going to be here on the field with these batting gloves on, keeping warm, and not me.
And I wanted to mention this is your last semester here as well. So I from me, and I bet you from a bunch of student athletes, I want to thank you for being a great coach and everything you've done for the athletic department. It has not been unnoticed. So I want to personally thank you for that as well.
That's sweet, Corbin. Thank you. I appreciate it as well, and I can counting down the days, but I'm gonna miss talking to Gary every week. I'm not gonna be talking to Gary next week, but hopefully I'll return in 2 weeks. Talk to Gary some more. We'll see you on the baseball field, Knights fans. You will come out and support Corbin and the Knights this weekend against Wagner. Thank you for staying here. Your hands never removed from your hips. I like it.
It's cold.
It's all business right here with Corbin, but you certainly got me loose over the last couple of years getting to know you.
Good stuff.
Good stuff. And Knights fans, thanks for watching again. The 9th episode of the Knights Baseball Roundup. You have episode 10 coming with the guest host next week. I don't know who that's going to be, but it's not going to be me. I'm going to be in sunny Florida. This weekend, you come out and support your Knights here at the Nine Complex. You cheer them on, and you watch next week. Thank you for watching this week, another edition of the Knights Baseball Roundup.